What's up, Vigo's Court? You got me, Judge Vader, and you got Counselor Q, and we're back for another amazing preseason round of Vigo's Court.
Yay, what it do? It's Saturday night. We've got us a nice little matchup here tonight. I'm super excited.
Oh, same. I mean, we got Monarchy, we got Arctic Wolves. Like, what a preseason matchup to have here, right?
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting because we saw how Arctic Wolves did in the preseason already on their home field, but today they're away, so we're going to kind of see how they do when they're in maybe a little bit more of like unfamiliar territory.
Definitely, and you know that they've definitely been practicing this map all week in preparation for this. But for sure, it'll be interesting to see how Monarchy does, because Monarchy tends to do pretty well versus no matter what team they face. So for sure, should be pretty cool to see this matchup. And it looks like we will have Arctic Wolves killing first. So I wonder if we'll see Solar Blazer again in the killer spot.
I mean, I know we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. It sounded to me the original goal was for Wispy to find a replacement for her, right? So that she wasn't the main killer. She was going to be more of like the coaching role. So we saw Solar Blazer have an absolutely like killer performance. Let's fucking go, chat. Had a really good performance in preseason number 2, so wouldn't be surprised to see him come out again. The question is going to be, do we see him repeat some of the killers, or do we see him bring out something new?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think that we do see something new brought out, but tough to say. I don't know. Maybe you do just try to show your S tiers a little bit more just to kind of put everybody on alert, like, hey, we've got good S tiers and we're not showing you anything about whatever else we have beneath the veil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting like position that you're in, right? Because as Arctic Wolves, it's not like, I mean, if Solar Blazer is, let's say, going to be the new main killer, we don't know if that's the case, but it's not like Solar Blazer has a whole bunch of tape anyways for killer or for teams to kind of know what to expect. So you can really come out here and show whatever, right? And still people would only know what 4 killers off your roster. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Solar Blazer's kind of sitting in a pretty good spot if that's the case that they do. And I think it'll be interesting too to kind of see Arctic Wolves, you know, even though they've had a really good performance throughout the preseason here in Vigo's Court, you know, they are a newer team, and I feel like we're seeing them continue to grow every time we see them show up. So I'm kind of excited to see what they do on the Survivor side too.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun to see. And I mean, Monarchy definitely showed some pretty strong killer play in their last match, as well as their survivors played very well. So for sure, I think this will be a really good matchup. I expect it to go to the 4th trial and
100%
really be close. So should be pretty fun to see. I'm checking to see if I have any friend requests or anything, and it doesn't appear that I do, but I just
while we're waiting on that, can you not remind me, but how about what map are we playing on?
I believe we're going to Father Campbell's Chapel. Let's go ahead and take a look. And that's exactly where we're going, and it is a pretty small map in terms of square meters, with a 6 hook minimum and an 11 hook maximum as well. So definitely less hooks for our killer to find out there, but with the smaller area, it actually makes it a little bit easier for killers to go ahead and pressure the entire map.
Yeah, one thing I really like here too with this map in particular, especially knowing that in Vigo's Court, like things operate a little bit different. Like this isn't where you show up every week and you can bring out like your top 3 and, you know, the next 3 after that. You got to bring out some killers. And I feel like Father Campbell's Chapel is going to make it to where Monarchy over the course of the season is probably going to be one of those teams that sees like the most diversity in their killer pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so as well. I completely expect that this will be where you'll see your doctors and
100%.
things of that nature, right? Like I fully expect that because it's a smaller map. You can make a lot of good use. I mean, I feel like with Doctor, you put the right build on there and like you can pretty much shock the entire map, right? And so drive a lot of madness, maybe be able to pressure the survivors into making silly mistakes.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that is actually what I think unless we had somebody else on this map, because we've had some desync issues, so we've had some people not playing on their home field. But I feel like I remember seeing Vercon from Corrupt on this map, and he did that exact same strategy. Came in with the doctor and was able to be very, very successful. So I would agree, definitely just what's in his base kit allows him to really put up a good performance. They're also one of those good maps where, you can kind of bring in some of your, again, more feel like your B tier killers. It'll be nice, I think, for Monarchy because you can almost expect to like probably not see the S tiers on your home field, right?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's that's why you pick it, right? You don't want to see as many S tiers, so you're gonna go. I expect I'll see S tiers whenever I'm playing in my away games, but at home we expect to see like the off meta. But at the same time, I feel like that's also in some ways tougher because you don't know what's going to be thrown at you. If you know that Nurse is coming every time, it's easy to prepare for Nurse and then just try to make sure that you outplay Nurse, right? Whereas this way, there's such a range that people could bring. I feel like it makes it almost harder to practice.
So we were talking about the homie. I just want to make sure that the screen's kind of small for me. Is that a solar blazer that I'm seeing there in the killer spot here?
Indeed, it is. Solar blazer is over there on killer, and we already know Solar Blazer had a really, really good performance as a killer.
Yeah, and it was actually, last week in the preseason was a breakout, not only a breakout week, but it was his debut week, really, as far as comp killer. And we saw Solar Blazer actually be able to take home a couple of our weekly performance like awards, which you can actually check out in the which command do we use again for that on Vader?
Any of the socials, so Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So I think that would be, as you can see under popular commands that Nightbot is calling out there. Exclamation point Facebook if you want the Facebook. Same for Twitter, all the other ones, right? Or just exclamation point links as you see Vigo's Court dropping right there. So for sure, I do want to recognize another name I see out there that I think all of our Vigos faithful that have been with Vigos since season 1 or season 0 will recognize. There's an alt for Domo out there, and I don't know if everybody remembers, but in that original intro, or in the intro for last season, you could hear Poggy saying, "Oh, a missed decisive strike." This man was guilty of the missed decisive strike. So the infamous missed decisive strike, that's Domo right there. So
I thought we were trying to make him feel welcome, and I feel like you're trying to run him off here by making sure we remember some of the infamous stuff, right? Instead of the famous stuff.
Nah, hey, here's the thing. Definitely, Domo is an amazing player, and so that's why you gotta give him a little bit of stuff for when he does mess up. Because it doesn't happen all the time, right? So for sure, I think this will be a really good matchup between these two teams, and he'll be one of the players to watch.
I'm excited for it, and it looks like our teams are starting to get a little anxious here and getting ready for it. So I have a question for you because I've been having fun asking everybody. We've been having fun guessing.
Yeah.
Who are we gonna see out here in trial number 1?
I think Solar Blazer is gonna go ahead and bring. Let's see, Father Campbell's. He's gonna bring the Doc. I think we
going with the Doc.
We're going with the Doc.
I think that would be a very safe choice. But I think this is where we see Solar Blazer, since it is a little bit of that newer into the role of killer, I think we see come out and kind of flex and let people know, hey, when I bring the S tier killers out, y'all got to worry about it. I think we're going to see a nurse.
Okay. I don't think that I think we saw Solar Blazer's nurse last week. So I think that Solar Blazer holds that back this week and goes ahead and shows us something different, showing us killer range to show why you should fear Arctic Wolves. But maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe. Again, I just kind of think of the fact that, if we've already brought it out, had a decent performance with the nurse, let's go ahead and double it up again. And you're not showing off too much before we actually head into the regular season,
Yeah, definitely. And hey, we can't forget about Keeperly either, because Keeperly is definitely another excellent player. We saw them play in the last matchup versus We Overslept, and for sure played very well. Really, all the people here on Monarchy are some of the regulars that we've seen in the comp scene as well. So the team's pretty stacked here as well. So we should really have a really good match here.
Now, I'm going to be really interested to see as far as for the survivors. I feel like on Father Campbell's Chapel, like obviously the middle area, like the middle building can be a very strong loop area, but I'm going to be interested to see how quickly they attack some of the gens that are around there. Sometimes you have the gens just outside of like the main buildings. Sometimes you have like that second one that's in the main building itself. And I'll be interested to see if we have those come up, what it's going to take, like what kind of strategies our survivors have. Are those the first ones we take care of and then leave it open for looping? Or do we make it so the killer has to go up to top mid every time in order to check on that gen, right?
I think you have to try to make it to where like the killer has to go to top mid. Make them walk as far as possible. We already talked about this map being really small, so you have to spread those gens as much as you can, because otherwise you're in trouble.
Yeah, and the one thing that's tough, when we had talked about the map, you talked about not only the size, but the hook count is smaller because of that size. So if you're able to kind of maybe see if you can force your last downs to be around doors or by around 3-gen setups. You know what I mean? We've kind of see that play out for our survivor teams a couple of times, even just in the little bit of preseason that we've already had.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, all of our teams have seemed really coordinated, really, on the survivor side. Definitely, it bodes really well for us during the season for having really exciting matchups, right? Because it seems like I don't know if you were watching even the last matchup. We had a blight that dropped chase with injured survivors a few times, and they reset like that. Like it was so quick, and they took all the pressure away from an S tier killer just by making him not commit to chases. And if he didn't commit, they punished him for it. So that definitely shows a lot of survivor strength.
Yeah, and I think that's the tough thing, especially when, we talk about it a lot when we sometimes get to the late game and the killers are kind of put in these tough situations where they have to get 4Ks at, 2, 3, 4 gens complete. Like they can't even have all the gens getting done. That's why like it's good sometimes, especially for the home team, where you can put that stress by, having the back-to-back killer games. That way, like the killer for your visiting team feels hopefully at least some sort of pressure come trial 4, right?
Yeah, I think that that like away team killer ends up being kind of like that kicker at the end of a football game. Like, are you gonna save it for us, or are you gonna shank it and then we lose?
Yeah, and it's a tough situation to be in because obviously each mistake that you make as a survivor means less than it does as a killer, right? So it's tough to kind of be in that situation where it comes down to a 4th and final trial, and now you're having sometimes we've seen killers have to have darn near perfect games, and we've seen some of them actually do it, which is always amazing to see. But you hope that your survivor team in back-to-back trials can do something to maybe even make it to where the pressure's off of you come trial 4, right?
Yeah, gotta have nerves of steel for sure. And definitely, I mean, we've seen it, like you said, we've seen it from several of these teams where killer is down and it's maybe even near impossible, and then all of a sudden it comes all the way back around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll
Looks
send
like we're
another one.
taking a minute here to get our crew in here. So one last thing I wanted to I can't remember if we have had the discussion. I know I feel like I've asked somebody. But the introduction of Cenobite into comp, do you think that that's going to be something? Obviously, everyone knows the big thing for Cenobite is the chain hunt, right? Like that's kind of what gives him the extra benefit. But I also can't help but wonder in a comp scene, like the team's got to have a good enough communication that there's really not going to ever be a chain hunt, right?
Not necessarily. I think it depends on what add-ons are brought as well, because I mean, I don't know if you've bumped into it the same way I've bumped into it, but there are several of these Cenobites, and I've scrimmed against a few of them where they bring add-ons and they find the box immediately and are just like, boom, chains all over you, and then that's like name of the game, right? They'll bring, oh man, probably the most savage build I've seen was like it was a Cenobite that had Devour Hope, Thrill of the Hunt, they had Undying and Ruin, and so it was like straight totems, right? But then they kept going after the box, which meant what? I can't pop a totem.
Right.
I keep getting chains on me, so I can't pop a totem. But guess what? Guess what else I can't do? I can't touch a gen.
Yeah.
And there's Ruin.
Right.
Like by the time we actually got one of the totems out, of course Undying's there, so it extends Ruin even more. And so it was like there were 4 or 5 hooks before a gen was complete, because you had to try to get the totems out, and then Devour ended up being up, and good luck, dude. You're exposed. Right. And like he's trying to get more stacks, and you can't even touch a totem because he keeps just going to the box like, you've opened the box.
Right. Yeah, so I'm excited though. It does look like we've got our survivors in here, and it looks like we hopefully can have a actual successful loan into a trial. We'll definitely want to make sure our killer has made sure the map is set, since we have to do that again after the change in the role there. But now we are again, we're going to, what map are we going to?
Father Campbell's Chapel.
Love it. I love it. Although I do gotta say, one thing that is interesting, I feel like, as a survivor, is you don't have a lot of your typical tiles as far as like looping tiles, right? You don't get like multiple TNLs that you can, or you can't like really chain. There aren't really any places that you can chain together like a TNL with a jungle gym, because they don't seem to spawn that close to one another. So dead zones can be made rather easy depending on what the killer's doing.
The other thing is that a lot of these, we didn't mention it, but Huntress is a really good pick on this map, because a lot of the tiles have low obstacles, not the high obstacles. So Deathslinger and Huntress actually do very well on this map as well. And let's go ahead and review some of these killer rules. See how Solar Blazer can put the pressure down, bring down the hammer on Monarchy here. So definitely, Solar Blazer is looking for these hooks. First hook being 2 points, second hook being 2 points, third hook being worth 3 points, but progressions being worth one less. I doubt that he does it, but if he wants to be a slug god, he could get an extra point for that 7th and 8th progression. And then, of course, if he 4Ks just because he's that cracked, then, he gets 2 extra points for that. An entity kill will result in the corresponding hook plus the remaining progressions, but Amori only results in the current hook without progressions. And a bleed out is equal to 0 points, leaving 30 points available. So let's go ahead and go in here. And it would appear that we have a twins queue.
Yeah, I like it because Solar Blazer actually had a relatively strong twins game last week. So this isn't like where you see, we talked about showing like the nurse multiple times, right? But this is one of those killers that we've talked about multiple times in the preseason. The twins are have casually been climbing up a lot of people's like where they put them in the comp scene and moving up into that like first three after the top three. So if Solar Blazer are going to have another strong performance here, definitely got to feel that he's got a good grasp of just the overall mechanics of Killer alone, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, definitely looking like he's gonna be able to pressure early with that with Victor already being on Domo, now being recalled. I'm definitely seeing these survivors being pushed off those gens pretty early. Good strong showing early game for Solar Blazer.
Yeah, and you'll also notice too right now working for Solar Blazer, we've pushed a couple of people off of those gens and we've seen those sparks flying. We've got that ruin going here, which is pretty big because, you know, with Solar Blazer, you've already acquired a couple of changes in health states, and that's the thing that you don't want against the Twins, right? Is multiple people injured. We do see that heal coming in across the way while Solar Blazer is finding another gen across here that has a lot of progress. It does actually look like we have two survivors here, but right now with ruin in play, if you can kind of stick around here, you can keep a lot of pressure on that gen and push that thing back quite a bit.
Yeah, and definitely you saw Domo was there. We see the lithe here as well from the Nancy. Like we're pressuring Domo off of here, but Domo has the med kit, so with him able to heal himself or provide the heals to the rest of the team, gotta probably be a priority to try to get on hook, right?
Oh, 100%. And I really like the patience that we're seeing right now from Solar Blazer so far as from the Victor. Unfortunately, we do see the missed pounce, which is going to result in the crush. That is going to also result in a gen getting popped across the way. One thing that we can also talk about now, though, with that gen popping we saw right next to us was that gen being covered up by the deadlock. And kind of an interesting strategy. We keep talking about it. These teams really seem to be enjoying the deadlock perk.
Yeah, I personally like I don't necessarily like it because right now if you leave that gen is blocked from having ruin affect it right now. So we are pursuing right now a survivor can rotate back to that gen right now. That sounded like it was damn near 99%, and we'll probably hear it pop here in the next like 5 seconds.
Yeah, definitely agree. It did sound like that thing was getting relatively close to being ready to go. We do see where that's probably it right there. We do see Shack Pallet getting thrown here relatively early. If we have anybody who maybe doesn't, that might be a little bit newer to the comp, you don't tend to see Shack Pallet being saved the same way, of course, that you do see in pubs. Got to remember right now, while the resources are getting wasted, our team's going to be very, very efficient as we've seen thus far on the objective across the way. We've already gotten 2 generators complete. We can't help but imagine that we're getting relatively to a third one being complete as well.
I would agree. It looks like we see a repressed alliance over there. I don't know if you noticed there. So definitely our survivors are trying to protect the gens that they have progress on. They both looked like they were center gens there. Main building and then a right down out that window where Claudette was and got Victor attached. So for sure, our survivors are trying to split this map and put a lot of pressure on our killer here. He would have this Shack gen, the gen right next to where Nancy is, and then a gen all the way top mid there. So for sure, you don't want that to happen if you're Solar Blazer, but you can hear this gen is knocking like a Ford in December, right?
Yeah, things get pretty close here. Looks like we're sitting very, very close to 75% there. We do also can notice that whenever the survivor left that gen there, we did not see sparks, did not see the notification come across, but at some point, our survivors were able to cleanse that ruin. That's going to be some extra help as far as being able to continue putting pressure here on the gens, especially seeing as we are at only 1 hook state with 2 generators complete.
Definitely, these survivors are putting on a clinic on how to play against the Twins right now because they were traveling in pairs. They're doing a good job trying to dodge those pounces, as well as they are pressuring gens out early and often enough that they're feeling pretty good. Oh, unfortunately, gonna go ahead get the attach. Domo won't be able to finish that gen. But we'll see if somebody rotates to it here. That definitely was very close. Oh.
gets done, stupid, right there for the pickup too. So that is going to be another down right away. So unfortunately not really able to make any distance there, but that is time that you bought. You see generator number 3 getting done. We do see a blind coming in. So now at this point, we're gonna go ahead and see Victor come out. Why not, right? You've already got a slug. See if you can get one more health state change here. Oh, you had just had your, oh, there you go. You're able to get your attachment. Now at this point, you're as the twins, even though you've lost 3 gens and this is only hook number 2, you got to be feeling kind of good because everyone else is injured, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I do want to recognize for a moment that was really high tier play from Solar Blazer. You notice Solar Blazer got blinded and released Victor immediately. That's because when you blind Charlotte, you actually didn't blind Victor. So you can instead of waiting for the blind to stop, release Victor and run with Victor and immediately have your sight back.
That was actually a trick that I didn't even know about. So you learn something new every day, chat. We do see generator number 4 coming in. Keeperly taking the attachment. But man, you were talking about it earlier, right? Sometimes when you're able to change some health states, and we saw everybody was injured and then everyone got healed except for who obviously currently is holding Victor. We do see the hit coming onto the Nia here. It does look like Nia should have the room to at least be able to get over here. And oh no, not going to be able to get the safe unhook. And actually now at this point, we might see Solar Blazer just confirm the elimination here.
I think that you want to if you're Solar Blazer as well. These survivors have pushed out the gens. There's 1 gen left. They're likely going to finish another gen. We see Domo trying to heal up here. You want to take him out now if you can, but you're not going to be able to, and you're going to get kicked. So definitely you have to confirm this kill. If you don't, this could be potential 4-out territory.
Yeah, and it's going to be really tough because you see also like the gens are all kind of far away. And yeah, you've seen a couple people come around and we saw the Nia take the hit and we see the ace right here. We do see the, oh my goodness gracious, the Nia getting helium. We do see the 2-player save that will come in here in time. Have to imagine that the ace has to have borrowed time. So we are going to see Solar Blazer at this point just going to continue trying to count out that borrowed time. We do see a nice little body block coming in here from ace that should allow for the pallet to be a play here. But with Solar Blazer now bringing out the Victor, not going to be an option. Would not be surprised to see you, take the attachment on one of these survivors here. I really like that. Now you're going to be able to get multiple health states and you're right here next to this locker.
Guys, this is really high tier play from these survivors. I love seeing it. I mean, what kind of awesome play to go ahead and go, oh no, go ahead and hop in a locker. We'll block the locker so Victor can't lock you in. Then you can escape. Now the person on Death Hook is not even anywhere near where Victor is right now. Sure, everybody is injured here, so you are in danger, but oh no, we found them. That's our Death Hook. Leave Domo and go get them. Unfortunately, I don't think they get out in time. This is going to be a grab and a kill, but that was a really good play by Monarchy to try to preserve Shiro.
Yeah, and then also too, you'll notice here, I don't even think we're going to, if you can get over here to your slug, you might even be able to secure this thing because you'll notice that rocket is broken. We're actually seeing this coming out a lot on the twins here recently in competitive play with that forced penance. So now, yeah, that's going to be a 2 escape, but now that is going to be 4 hooks with 2 additional progressions. So I would say Solar Blazer did a relatively good job on, especially on a map that we don't typically see the twins on, having a pretty solid performance here.
Indeed, and I think really after all these points are all said and done, it'll be interesting to see. I think the score is accurate here. Monarchy has 14 points. Arctic Wolves has 12 points. So for sure, that's a really interesting game, right? Like we were able to have almost a tie. Like these survivors matched up quite nicely against the killing power of Solar Blazer.
Yeah, and so you know, honestly, I really liked what we saw in there in that last game, especially from the survivors. You know, a lot of coordination coming in, taking some extra hits, which is dangerous against the twins. We have to make sure that we talk about that, right? Normally you don't want to give twins extra health states, but you're very confident in the fact that, hey, I can take an extra health state here, even after noticing the forced penance, still taking protection hits, knowing that you're going to be able to keep the twins busy and chase while the rest of your teammates are going to simply hold M1 and hit some skill checks, right?
Yeah, and I think that all goes back to like these survivors were so coordinated that we saw them go ahead, take a hit, split off from the chase, and twins actually still tried to chase whoever was originally being chased rather than the person who took the protection hit, right? And because of that, you end up seeing the survivors split off, heal up, come back for another body block. I think that's a classic bodyguard play, right? Like, we see lots of teams do it. We saw Six do it with Joy King versus a Twins as well. And it really does seem like it's a common Twins theme, right? Like, you see a survivor go ahead, try to run far away, reset, come back, take another hit, and then go away again. So it's become a more common play against Twins.
Well, I feel like it makes it a little bit easier too, because typically when you're running against the Twins, you're running in pairs, right? So it's easier to retreat, get the quicker heal, or you can almost do like a little flip flop. As someone comes against the heal, you can take another healthy survivor and then have them move in for the body block, right? So you can kind of get that nice little lather, rinse, repeat sort of cycle going on, especially if you happen to not have that forced penance. We did happen to have it that last round, but when you don't, it's even that much easier.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it looks like we're going to have the Lonely Moth be the killer here. And so definitely I've seen Moth play, and they are amazing at multiple killers. So we'll see how this goes. But right now, with the score the way it is, Monarchy has the lead and will be looking to extend it. I personally think that they are going to bring out a tier or an S tier killer and try to put the pressure down on Arctic Wolves and see how Arctic Wolves tries to play from behind, because we haven't seen them play from behind very often.
That's true, right? Arctic Wolves have been in control of a lot of the matchups that we've seen them in thus far here in Vigo's court, and even just in a lot of what we've seen in comp in general. Again, they're kind of still more of a team that's been coming very much into their own. But you mentioned it, Monarchy, they're in the power position right now. You already have a lead after the Survivor game, and with it being preseason right now and knowing that all killers are on the table or are available, right? This is where you can come out with like even an S tier killer. This is where you can build a little bit of a lead, or extend your lead, and then you can make the decision in trial number 3. Hey, do I want to just try and do what home field advantage is capable of doing and end this thing in trial number 3? Or if I build myself a good lead with an S tier killer, then I can come out in trial number 3 and have a little bit more leniency with a killer that I'm not as comfortable with, but I can get some live action, reps in with, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think you come out with the S tier this round, and
100%.
then maybe next round, like, we'll see. It looks like we are waiting on one survivor just because their lobby was bugged. So we'll continue to wait for that. But
wait, bugs in my Dead by Daylight? Shut up, you're lying.
It's just Dead by Daylight, right? You can't truly be a Dead by Daylight fan if you can't name every bug. But good luck naming every bug.
Wait, what?
Can you name every bug to Dead by Daylight?
I definitely can't.
No, you're not a true fan of Dead by Daylight. No, I'm just kidding. Have you not seen the meme that was going around on Reddit? There is a meme that's going around on Reddit, and it's like, hey, so you say you were a true fan of Dead by Daylight, and it's got like Gru with the gun, and he's like, if you're a true fan of Dead by Daylight, name every bug. And then it's actually like a Discord video of somebody naming every bug in Dead by Daylight, naming every single one. And so it's just like speeding through, and it's pages and pages of bugs.
I mean, to be fair, we got to realize one thing. Obviously, it's easy for us to give the devs a hard time from here and there, but when you think back of the history, it has been kind of fun to watch how the game's matured and grown. And it's funny looking back at like gameplay from 3-4 years ago and seeing how like smooth everything actually looks now. I think we tend to forget how far it's come. We don't give that enough credit. It's easy to get discouraged about the other stuff,
For sure. No, I totally get that. I would say they've done a pretty good job so far, and they continue doing so. You know, like honestly, for all the bugs that do happen, the game is actually still playable. I mean, guys, I got into this genre originally playing Friday the 13th, and that game is damn near unplayable right now and is getting no support. So for sure, I think
Didn't they just lose the license? I
behavior.
thought they like officially lost the license. I thought, didn't they shut it
I
down?
mean, they did, but then like so they lost the license, and it was like you can still keep the game running, but you can't add new content to the game, right? But then
okay. I
Gun
thought they had to
Media,
like pull the plug.
oh no, they have now. So Gun
Okay.
Media was like, oh, we can't produce new content for it. We'll continue supporting it, and their support was like an update, like every like 3-4 months or whatever, and it wasn't real support. There were bugs, like you could get on top of the house, and then Jason just looks at you like, well, shit, I can't get up there, and so like it was almost unplayable, right? And
They high-res it. Gotcha.
yeah, basically, High Res Studios, 100%. Like they ended up going, yeah, it's pretty broken. There are no more updates now.
Okay,
No more
bye.
updates. Bye. So
Take her easy in the corner, though. All right. Take the keys.
yeah, basically. So definitely that's not the case with Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight's still going strong and still getting new content. Like it's great. We love it.
Not only getting new content, but while we're talking on a Saturday night and we're here and we're enjoying some competitive DBD. I don't know if you saw yesterday, but a whole bunch of new eyes were starting to get like on competitive DBD, and I couldn't help but be excited. I was hanging out in the chat quite a bit once I had both Vigos up and that once I got off the desk early, you know what I mean? But seeing all the people like, oh man, like DBD actually can be competitive. And even in Justin's stream today, I was hanging out and there he was talking about, some of the content creators that were even in the tournament a year ago were kind of memeing about comp DBD, and here we are a year later and they're raving about how much they love it. So hopefully we can start getting some more eyes on it and getting more people into it too, because we've seen really just the competitive pool grow lately too.
100%. It's been really fun to see, and I mean, honestly, I think that Vigos may be able to take more of a role with that. Don't you agree as well? Like, I mean, we definitely got the production value, and shout out to the production team for allowing us to look so good sitting in these chairs, right? Or standing in these rooms, right?
Sitting in my chair? No, but yeah, for sure, 100%. I think we've got a really good crew working it in the background, and it's funny because we have the easy job, right? Like we just get to come in and call some awesome matchups. We have people in the back who are working on scheduling. We had a rules committee that put a whole balancing thing together for the league. So there's a whole, again, there's a whole mob in the back that puts up a lot of work in order to be able to do this. So definitely big shout out to them while we're waiting to load in here.
100%. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and let them know they are good to go at this point, and we'll be ready to get into this next match. So Arctic Wolves, we know, also has performed very well on a Survivor side. Who do you expect to see from Lonely Moth, and how do you expect these survivors to react to it? What's your prediction?
Oh, part of it is I'm trying to remember who they brought out in week number 1, because I do feel like this is where you bring out an S tier killer, right? So I think if I had to go between a Nurse or a Blight or a Spirit, I feel like Nurse makes the most sense, right? And it allows you to build yourself a little bit of lead, knowing that the killer side has the potential to yield yourself more points, right? That way you can build yourself a lead and you can have more options for trial number 3. So I think it's a Nurse.
I would agree with you. I think a Nurse is the pick that I was going to go with. Moth has a Nurse that is a fear to be reckoned with. No, I'm not copying. I'm not copying. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that, hey, I think you're on the right path. And you know what? I'm going to hop on the bandwagon. It's definitely, I support the Nurse in this case. If it's not Nurse, if I had to give another guess, maybe maybe a Huntress, but like I think that Moth is gonna come out with the nurse. Either actually I take back my Huntress. Nurse or Wraith. That's what I think.
Wraith, huh?
Wraith, yeah. All-seeing Wraith, maybe. Small map, high mobility.
Spicy. I do like it.
We'll see.
I mean, you know, only time is going to tell.
For sure. So let's go ahead and see how Arctic Wolves can go ahead and try to give themselves the lead here. All right, guys. So, of course, Arctic Wolves will be looking to finish those gens. That first and second gen are worth 1 point each. The third and fourth gen are 2 points each. Fifth gen, 3 points. Those escapes are valuable as well at 1, 2, 4, and 6 points, respectively. Trying to get that 4 out for sure. If you escape with 2 or more hook states remaining, though, you do get a bonus point for each survivor that is able to do that. So definitely try to starve those killers of those hook states. Try to spread them out. Don't let somebody take 2 hooks. Make sure everybody takes 1 hook first. All right, so that leaves 26 points available to our survivors. And let's go ahead and get started. We are ready to go.
I'm excited to see what we've got here. It does look like we've got us a Booba Boy. I feel like we've been seeing Booba Boy here coming out quite a bit in the preseason here recently. Kind of an interesting choice, wouldn't you say?
I would agree. Interesting choice for sure. But early down here, Lonely Moth showing us, hey, somebody said that somebody else was the best NA. Bubba, and I want to give them a run for their money. And if you guys didn't know, that was actually Paige from our last match right before this said that her killer, it was best NA Bubba. And I think that Lonely Moth is trying to say, wait a minute, let me show you my Bubba.
And gonna be interesting here, especially because we see not only an early hook, but that early hook is in the non-corrupt side of the map. Not just in the non-corrupt side of the map, it is buried deep into the non-corrupt side of the map. So here, really Lonely Moth should be able to put pressure onto these 3 gens that have about 50 seconds worth of corrupt intervention left still.
Yeah, and I do want to go ahead and note, did you notice how fast he was moving with somebody on his shoulder?
Yeah, that was pretty quick there. Definitely, that's going to be that agitation coming in. Of course, Bubba really thrives whenever he's able to get the basement going, right? So that's going to be a little something to help there. But when you're not in the basement, also allows you to position your survivors as, like, to the best of your ability to really help you out strategically, right?
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, I like the play of having agitation here, because then you really can protect a whole zone here. Looks like we are confirming second state here, but I'm worried about that gen popping. I think I would probably stay near this gen a little bit more, and it looks like that's what we're going to see happen. We see a gen going off in the distance. Looks like in that main building, but we're still feeling pretty good about where we're at if you're Bubba.
Yeah, definitely got to be feeling good having already secured yourself a second hook state, knowing that once that survivor there is off of the hook, they will indeed be on, they will be eliminated from the game, especially knowing here, it looks like you've already removed yourself 1 pallet. You're removing some of these resources here. I was going to say that we have Ruin still up, but we do see a totem getting cleansed. But you did notice there, we pushed Nancy off of this gen, and we still have Sparks, which means that must have been Undying, meaning that we still have Ruin up right now.
Yeah, and we could actually see over there that our survivor has found another lit totem, but they're not able to pressure it because look, this gen that we are next to with this hook with the confirmed kill is right next to the Ruin.
Yeah, this is tough, but the one thing, keep in mind, even if you're doing this back and forth game between the Ruin and this generator, now after having a survivor removed from the trial already, that means you can only have 1 other survivor really getting consistent objective work done, right?
Yeah, for sure. The other thing is that because you're chasing Nancy here now and taking out resources, being smart about where you're taking chases, you don't care about the other side of the map. I would probably go back and make sure that your totem is fine, but we see instead Moth is more worried about these survivors.
I like this navigation here with the using the chainsaw, being able to go directly through the doorway. I'll tell you what, I definitely don't have the coordination. I probably would have been throwing a tantrum on one side of that door frame or the other, but we do see here now you located the Nia, and now we see this is probably where Lonely Moth. I mean, look around right now. You've got Ruin in the middle of a 3-gen in a 3v1.
Yeah, you confirmed the kill because of that agitation play. Able to go ahead and walk a survivor all the way up into your 3-gen that you wanted to claim early. And that makes it a really easy game for you to be able to go, yep, this is my 3-gen. Yep, this is where my totem is. And yeah, you're not getting this. You're not saving your friend. And I'll keep my 3-gen. And I'm going to take out resources now and force you into going down in the basement, maybe.
Yeah, and the other thing here too, you mean you've got 2 gens over here that you could even still protect while you're in 3-gen. Now while you have a basement hook, but that's now another resource that's already being taken out here. You don't have too many left on this side of the map. You have basically this this pallet that we're playing around right now and Shack, and that is it. Oh,
Yeah,
get done,
for sure.
stupid!
No hook on Alex here. I expect. Oh, there is an unbreakable play. Interesting. Spicy. I like it. I expect to hear the totem fall here or not. They're going to pressure out without the totem. Now you've lost your 3-gen on the one side of the map. This definitely makes it easier for the survivors. Having the chase be over here for as long as it has been has allowed for these survivors to go ahead and try to recover.
Yeah, and I actually like that decision, right? Because once you break the Ruin, you almost kind of expect Bubba to get a little bit more protective of the 3-gen, right? Because you don't have Ruin protecting it. So since you're able to get a survivor onto a gen and basically sit there, hold up, you get to do the easiest part of the game, knowing that Lonely Moth is over here, and you're able to get that gen done before going over and getting the Ruin. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I think for sure we may see another gen on that side fall. I don't know if our Bubba saw the Nancy there. Yep, Bubba did see the Nancy. I think unhook will probably happen here shortly, though.
The one problem though is you know, keep in mind we have basically depleted our resources all around here, so any sort of an unhook would be pretty risky. So we have noticed the Nancy, at least the one, wouldn't be surprised to maybe have Solar Blazer on one of these gens. Remember that at least getting a 4th gen will yield your team 2 more points. We do see coming back here, and oh my goodness gracious, I'm a fortune teller. Speaking of fortune tellers, you see the fortune. Oh, it gets done stupid with the blind too. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yo, blinding at a pallet before the break because you got the stun. That is perfect. Blinding after dropping a pallet when they're in break animation, I feel like that is less ideal because your killer is just going to use the sound of you to go ahead and track you down. But if you get the stun, can get that done, and while they're breaking, you're out of there, that's so much better.
Yeah, and you know, we've done a good job here as far as the killer the last 2 times, able to make sure you get the timing right. Looks like Lonely Moth knows exactly how far going to sit back. Nice play though, able to get the quick vault out of the locker before. Oh, now we're just playing games. Now we're going to see the snatch coming in, but you happen to notice that the Nia is still injured. So you probably have Nia across the way on a gen, knowing that we had just seen the Nancy here.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, is the Nancy gonna go for save here, or is she gonna clear out? Looks like she's gonna clear out.
I mean, the good news is right now, Solar Blazer has some hang time, right? It is first hook. If you happen to force a progression, that's actually taking a point away from the killer. And while you can also put some points onto the board by securing another gen or 2, there's the 4th gen. So that's going to be some extra points. Would love to get the 5th gen if possible, since you get 3 points for that. But you'll notice, I do believe that the gen that's farthest progressed is the one that's right next to the hook, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I think that Solar Blazer was the only one to get a save. You gotta wonder, do they have Deliverance, and are they just waiting?
I mean, it is a possibility, especially with not having anybody it looks like moving in for the save, at least not quite yet. We do see getting really close. So if you were going to use it, now would definitely be the ideal time, especially because it looks like Solar Blazer is going to be doubling back on this hook, making sure that there is indeed a second stage secured. There it is coming in there. And now with not seeing any more progress on that gen, honestly, I can't help but imagine that we've got Nancy and Nia across the way tag team in that gen, because that would make that a 40-second gen roughly, which is more than enough time to get that done. And then you can 50-50 these doors.
Yeah, and I will go ahead and note as well that with the hook, and if there is a death here on Solar Blazer, that would result in a tied trial. So if Bubba can go ahead and just secure this kill and make sure that nobody comes in for save, that's a win for Bubba.
Yeah, so we do see that fifth and final gen coming in, so that will be a couple more points here for Arctic Wolves, which is the good news. Now you can't help but wonder if you're going to be moving in for the door that's farthest away, which is actually really not that. Oh my goodness, you see him moving in. I don't think you have enough time though, and I don't think you've probably had a survivor over here on this door with enough time, unless the survivor that is on the door currently has Wake Up, which is a possibility, since we do see, obviously, Wake Up is a pretty common perk in the competitive scene. But now it looks like instead we're just going to see Nancy taking chase here in the middle building. We have wasted some of the resources around here. We actually see we've got a door at a... Oh, that door is just about ready to go. Oh, you should have stayed committed. You probably could have opened that.
She didn't. She decided not to commit, and I think that's going to be the problem here. And actually, that's an injured Nia, so you don't even have to use your chainsaw. Oh man, this could be a problem. This is 4K territory.
Has that survivor gotten a save though? Is there a chance for deliverance here?
I don't know if Nancy or Solar Blazer got the save, but only one survivor in the match got a save. I just can't remember who.
Okay, so we'll have to see here, but now it's unfortunate because it does look like Lonely Moth here has actually already been able to identify where the Nia is, right? You know that the Nia isn't across the map, isn't on that door. It looked like they were actually back towards the shack here, and now you have a little bit of an elevation that you can work around. Maybe try and see if you can slip around the back door, Giggity, and open that door, but gonna be kind of interesting here.
For sure, and I don't think that we're gonna see a deliverance actually happen here.
Yeah, unfortunately, now would be the time that you kind of have to do it, or at least give yourself an attempt here. But oh, we're activating the chainsaw right there. Oh, now do it! Oh, there's a door opening though.
Yeah.
You've had enough time that you had a door going across, and that's somebody who has two hook states available too. So that's gonna give yourself some extra points that you've taken away from Lonely Moth here.
Indeed, it does give you one extra point, but one extra point on one escape means that escape only netted you 2 points.
Yeah, but don't forget you also took some points away from the killer by getting the progressions too, right? So there it looked like even though you had gotten the very early elimination shown by the 1,100 points on the scoreboard, but you were able to still manage and do what you could to get yourself maximum amount of points, and two, take some points away from your killer.
Yeah, definitely. And Monarchy's coming out and trying to show very early that they're a force to be reckoned with here, and they are in the lead right now by 8 points.
Yeah, definitely a good lead to be going into Trial 3 with, knowing that you already have the capability of getting more points than your survivor team right off rip as a killer, right? Mm-hmm. So can't help but wonder, what do we see come out in this next matchup? What do you think?
I think we're going to see another off-meta killer. I think if they brought a Bubba there, they're going to bring another off-meta killer. I think they're going to bring... Really, I have no idea. Off-meta, I mean, they could bring anything from...
Do we see my humorous friend?
Clown? Oh my gosh. I mean, wouldn't it be like... That would be a home map. I mean, why not? Yeah, let's go with Clown. I'm down.
I mean, home field advantage, right?
I'm down.
I'm down for it. Especially too because there aren't really any big tiles on the map typically, right? Other than the big middle building. Mm-hmm. So that means the Clown's ability to shut down loops effectively becomes that much stronger, right?
Yeah. I mean, because the whole thing with Clown, you are going pop, pop, you are zoned. Are you taking that intoxication, or am I hitting you?
Right. And even too now, you have at least a little bit of ability to traverse the map after a hook and put a little bit more pressure onto some gens. Now with the I want to say it new rework, but obviously at this point it's been months ago, but with the yellow smoke to be able to kind of push pressure across the map. And you talked about, this is a map that's a little bit smaller than most maps we see in comp anyway, so I feel like this would be kind of a spicy map to bring my homie out on.
What's funny is, like, with that gold dust, like, that is basically like bringing agitation. Because if you're smart as a clown, like I've seen several comp clowns do this before they pick up a survivor. As soon as they downed them, they pop the gold smoke and they go ahead, pick up the survivor. By the time the survivor is on them, they now are under the effect, and they just move as if they have agitation without bringing agitation, and they can get to that hook in the middle of the 3-gen.
Have you seen the combo with the yellow smoke plus agitation? You could be.
Oh my gosh, dude! You can almost make it like across the map. It is stupid. It is crazy.
Yeah. But which is kind of nice, because then you kind of talked about it. One of the things that for Clown that's typically been a weakness, right, is the fact that you can't put much map pressure. But now you have where at least now you can counter that with your own decisions of where am I have more options with my hook, and I can put them physically where I want to, right?
Yeah, if you really think about it as well, like it's it's pretty crazy that like when a killer is wanting to hook in the 3-gen, agitation can be that perk that goes ahead and allows him to do so, right? Like, I don't think that Bubba has all the pressure that he had originally if he didn't have agitation to be able to hook where he did. Because you don't have agitation, I don't think you get there.
Yeah, it definitely would have been close as far as if you can bury the survivor on the backmost hook there, right? But you still at least were on the uncorrupt side of the map, so you would have still had that working for you there. But I think, again, we talk about the size of the map. Agitation is not bad, and especially because, again, we talked about with this map, you'll probably be seeing, especially in the regular season, less meta killers. You're going to see more M1 killers. Probably going to be seeing more agitation on this map, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know. We're seeing a really good match too. We really don't know who's gonna come out of this on top, right? It's still so close that if Arctic Wolves has a really good showing right here, they can go ahead and bring this right back to them.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you can take some control for Arctic Wolves if you can get yourself a 2-out, or maybe even a 3-out if you can spread some of those hooks early, right? And not get the very early elimination like we have seen in both trials thus far. If you can spread those hooks, maybe get yourself a 3-out and bring this thing in where now you're on the killer side and you're only maybe looking at like a 2-point deficit.
For sure. Like it is for sure gonna be a close one here. And really, I have faith that these survivors, now that they've seen kind of how Moth plays, at least with Bubba, we may see them perform a little bit better in this matchup. But kind of depends on who Moth's bringing. So, oh no, that's a 4-point penalty to Monarchy for not bringing the cut coin.
Yeah, that's going to be tough, and especially since you're already in the lead, right? Those are costly points that you don't want to give up.
No, for sure. That is not good. All right, so guys, let's review some of these ban rules real quick, and we probably won't make it all the way through. That loading screen is going fast. You can only bring one of each perk, and except for BT, you can bring 2 BTs. But guys, you can't bring any Starstruck, you can't bring any Haunted Ground, and you can't bring any Prove Thyself. Those are too OP. And now we're gonna have to go right into the match. These guys loaded in as fast as humanly possible. And we're actually seeing a nurse.
Yeah, I like it, right? Come out and just put the pedal down here. Allow your survivor team to feel some comfort moving into trial 4 if you can really compound not only a whole bunch of hook states, but Nurse is one of those killers that you definitely got to feel comfortable in having the ability to shut things down and get a 4K, maybe even before all generators pop.
Yeah, definitely will require some pretty good nurse play, but for sure. Oh, the dead hard. That was spicy.
Yeah, you love to see it. Now that Dead Hard is operating as intended, you don't have those exhausted on the ground moments quite as much. Sometimes when you see those very close encounters like that one here, at least it sends the update. You can't help but wonder if that would have been one of those moments here, which would have been game changing, right? You would have had a very early down, and instead, now Lonely Moth looking for another survivor has crossed the map and has found a fully healthy survivor while seeing generator number 1 popping.
Definitely pretty crazy stuff. Seeing that this game actually got a lot closer, and oh no, did did the survivor go down and then come back up?
No, the heal had actually came in there just before the nurse had came over. So it was literally because it is the same survivor that you can see there that was injured before, had gotten
Yeah.
full health, and then taken another health state change before the pallet stun. Now we do see here going for the nice locker play. However, this is a nurse, homie. You ain't going to be able to build the distance that you can against most killers, and that's going to be a down there, and that's going to be hook number 1.
Yeah, indeed, and it will be in this circus area where we saw Bubba go ahead and perform very well. So we do see Corrupt is still on that opposite side, just like it was versus the Bubba, and we're going to see our nurse going to the dead zone gen. I mean, look at how dead that zone is near that gen. That gen's a very dangerous one to be working on.
Yeah, and it's tough because you can hear there's at least a decent amount of progress thus far. Oh, through the
What?
pines, you got the hit. Oh my goodness gracious. The Lonely Moth absolutely cracked. You got the hit. Oh, don't, no, no, no. Go finish that chase there, homie. No, instead coming back over here, you have found yourself another fully healthy survivor, though. So this is good because now you can kind of compound this pressure through. Oh, I thought you were going to get the blink there through the wall. Instead, though, working the way around, going to try and see if you can track those scratch marks here. This should work in favor of the Lonely Moth here, though, because now you're kind of in position to be able to secure yourself a second hook state onto your first hook survivor.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we're blinking back just to confirm it. And I think you do have it confirmed, so we probably should see that we don't let this gen over here get repaired. And oh, just a slight overblink on the Michaela here.
Yeah, and one thing to notice too, we had that totem pop across the way, and we noticed when we pushed Solar Blazer off of this gen, we're still getting those sparks flying. So that might be the totem that we're looking at right there, which has probably been called out by our survivors. The only bad news is it's like right next to your hook, and you kind of need an unhook right now.
Yeah, unless they're gonna let Asaya die on hook again. That's kind of sad for Asaya coming to play a match and in both matches getting hooked fairly early and progressing all the way to death, not able to really have much more participation than hanging on the hook and completing the skill checks on struggle phase.
Hey, bro, every boat's got to have an anchor, you know? So everyone's got to do their part right now. As Asia's over here making sure they're hitting them skill checks, making sure that you get as much hang time as possible. Now making this thing a 3v1. Now here's going to be where things get a little spicy because obviously we still have 3 gens yet to complete. We still have to get this ruin cleanse. And if you're the Lonely Moth, you have to imagine that Arctic Wolves here have called out your ruin location, right?
Yeah, and without there being a hook there, you're gonna have to pressure it without also having a hook to have the survivors worrying about.
And things can get really tough here too. We talked about it actually heading into this matchup. You know, this is a map that tends to sometimes spawn less hooks, right? Has a really low, I think it's what, 8 hook minimum, 6 hook minimum?
Yeah,
Something.
8 hook minimum, 13 hook max.
Yeah, so you're talking about you've already lost 1 hook here in the corner, and you'll notice you're here by a door too. So you do have 1 more hook back here, but if Solar Blazer hangs here while they do those gens across the way, this door almost becomes free at the end, or you're making kind of a like where you kind of force a bleed out, which is no points on the elimination too, right?
Yeah, And we've seen Arctic Wolves do that before, where they'll make the corner play just to make it so the killer can't hook them.
Interesting enough here, I want to point something out. I'm going to be interested to see how it plays out. We saw a very quick save there, right?
Yeah.
Can't help but wonder how this game changes had the Nia taken the time to break the ruin. Instead, you have the nurse double back on the hook here, and now you have 2 injured survivors instead of 1.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is that would have been a better play, I think, by Heat there to go ahead and put some pressure on that ruin, knock it out before doing this, because actually by unhooking and allowing your friend to get rehooked, you have actually given the killer more points.
Right, because you're getting the actual hook points versus the progression. You would have almost rather have gotten the let him hang up there for an extra time, because you didn't really make Lonely Moth work for that extra hook, right?
No, not really. And we don't know where that survivor is. Lonely Moth definitely worried a little bit. And was that a return, Blake? Interesting.
I like it, a little spicy movement here. And, you know, now, unfortunately, since you did not leave Solar Blazer to hang, right? Now you have to get this unsafe, because had you let Solar Blazer hang there, I think you would have had enough time to be able to get 2 more gens done and maybe be able to attack that other door. Oh, we see the save coming in here, and that's going to be a BT hit. Makes it a very easy decision for Lonely Moth here. Should be continue. Ooh, I bet you Solar Blazer right now is mauling on the ground. Thought they were going to get the pallet save there, and now we have got 2 survivors, 2 slugs, and Lonely Moth. Oh my goodness, you know where they are. Go after them.
We turned around and blinked back, but you found them. You know where they are.
Yeah, things are tough here though. Oh no. Oh, Nia, start going towards the corner, because right now there's no hooks over here, homie. Even where you're at is still pretty far. Yeah, I don't know if Nia's gonna be able to get to a hook.
I think she will. I personally, I think that hook right there in front. Don't try to walk over there. Just go forward. Yep, right over there, around this little Z wall. Yep, over there. Yeah, you got this. Good job, nurse. Sally, you're doing great. Look, there's Nancy. Go get Nancy. Retrieve.
No,
we got
Nancy's
this.
right
That's
there.
gonna be a 4K if you can do it. It's looking like it could be a 4K to me, Q.
I love it. You actually see the 1 hit here coming in, and also I'm trying to keep in mind we see the deliverance here though, so that's going to be helpful. However, I don't know how much value deliverance can truly get you right now. You're in a 2v1. Maybe if you're lucky, you can get over here and break the ruin totem and allow maybe another generator to get complete, because I don't think you can grind out this gen through ruin. We see the nurse already coming back. The nurse making their way towards the Nia here. Nia making their way. That's going to be a swing and a miss, but you can't help but wonder you're not going to be able to make much distance here. We're seeing the quicker recharge as far as with the blinks there. You've already got 2 blinks back. We're coming back here towards Shaq. We're going to see the 1 blink probably here to see if you can locate the survivor up here onto Pride Rock, and now it's just going to be about locating the Nia here, since she is still broken from the deliverance.
Definitely, and if you notice, the Nancy reset fast, and if you don't commit to Nancy's holding a med kit, she is going to reset on you.
Yeah, and this is tough. So we do see now you're going to be coming across the map, because you did see Nancy heading towards that ruin, right? And that ruin is going to be helping you right now, because it is a 2v1. So anytime that you happen to either get a hook and force somebody off, or just push that one person off in general, you're going to get yourself that regression. And of course at tier 3, that 200% regression, really big. So definitely a very easy decision for Lonely Moth here to traverse the map, come back over here, double check onto this generator. But you'll notice with the double blink, we don't see any sparks, meaning that the Nia was not working, but she was still relatively close. We're seeing scratch marks here, and oh my goodness gracious, you're right here in front of Lonely Moth. Didn't have the time to find yourself any sort of heals. Of course, we know that our Nancy has the med kit, but not sure if maybe we have a self heal or anything like that. Oh, get stunned, stupid. Plus 10 wood to the face. Nice work of the pallet there by Arnia. And now at this point, I think Nia's going to try and just bury themselves in the corner, knowing that the ruin has been broken.
Indeed. Oh, I love the point. I love the point. Just like pointing to the corner, like, look over there. Look at the corner. Just look at it with me. It looks so beautiful. Look at
Would you
the.
just look at it?
Hey, look at that. Isn't it neat?
That is going to be hook number 2 here for our Nia. Unfortunately, I do not think that Ruin Cleanse came early enough into this trial where you're going to be able to get enough value to be able to get a full generator complete, especially because we do see there with the kick onto the gen that we can probably assume has the most progress or had the most progress. We applied that Pop Goes the Weasel and instantly regressed it back 25%.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, Nancy was originally found up there, so I would think, yeah, that far gen we're headed towards right now is probably where the progress is being placed. Oh, I don't think we went far enough to where we could hear it.
Yeah, I was actually about to say the same thing. I don't know if we blinked quite far enough back, but do keep in mind here that this was Nia's second hook. So unless our Nancy had already been able to put 20 seconds worth of gen work on that back corner, our friend Lonely Moth here should be able to go across and double check on that gen once they close the hatch here, because of course we do know that hatch is going to be spawning here at Shack thanks to those oh wait, I thought we had the
it's basement will spawn in Shack. The hatch could spawn anywhere. It's a race.
But we do see you've already gotten yourself 1 health state here, so we got ourselves a 1v1 nurse at Shack. 1v1 me, bro. Let's go. But you don't see any scratch marks. Can't help but, is this a lucky break play here? Maybe being able to buy some time? And that's a hatch play.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Iron Will. Wow.
Oh, wow. Lucky break, Iron Will, and Lithe. That was crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean, legit, my hands are on my head. I can't. That's wow. That's talk about you know, it's funny. Sometimes you bring certain things into a trial and you end up getting no value out of it, right? You bring deliverance into the first person on hook, right? You bring camaraderie, but you're the person, or sorry, not camaraderie, kinship. But you bring kinship and you're the person on hook. But here, when you're in the final 1v1 and you're in that 50-50 position to try and look for hatch, you take the hit. You have the lucky break, ironwork with the Lithe to make distance. Wow, and now we're looking at a 16-point lead for Monarchy heading into their last survivor trial here.
For sure. Yeah, this is pretty nuts. And this is like you said, this is the last trial. 16-point lead. Definitely pressure is on Solar Blazer or whoever is killing, but it is not an impossible task.
No, I'm trying to think here though. You're gonna have to get a 4K before 5 gens here, right? You're gonna have to get a 4K at.
No, 5 gens gives you 10 points. Or, right?
So yeah, you're making up the difference
12
there.
points.
So so even like a escape with just 1 hook state even wouldn't be enough if as long as you get the other 3 kills depending on your progressions, right?
Yeah. You have to you're obviously you're shooting for a 4K, right? Because a 4K for sure clenches it, but I think minimum you have to have a 3K with a good number of hooks, re-hooks, or progressions.
So with that being the case, do you think we continue to see what we've been seeing, which is kind of your ruin undying, ruin with pop? Or do you think maybe knowing that you like really need to make sure you're wrapping up eliminations here, is this where you see maybe like a no ed, no way out, like endgame combo?
Well, you know, we've been seeing a lot of deadlock actually from Arctic Wolves. I think that instead you're gonna see I don't know. I think you're gonna see less of the deadlock. I think you're gonna see the ruin, the undying, the no-ed. Yeah, I think that's just what you gotta see, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, with it being in this position, I mean, and if it's Solar Blazer here, for Arctic Wolves who ends up coming out, this is good practice, right? Your preseason, you need to come out, you need to have like the strong performance on the killer side here in order to lock things down. So I'm gonna be interested to see what killer we see come out here. I mean, I almost feel like this is where you bring the nurse, right? After seeing them bring the nurse in trial 3.
I think so. I would agree with that. Also, I think it's kind of interesting, but I don't think I've seen, we didn't see Alfordomo bring Decisive Strike last time in the build. I wonder if he's going to bring Decisive this time. You know, maybe we see him go ahead and hit it this time.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. This is going to be interesting because you got to be feeling the pressure a little bit on both sides, right? On the Survivor side, you know you have to play this thing like very, like you need multiple escapes, basically,
Yeah.
right? So that means you're going to have to be, I don't want to say flawless in your runs, but you want to be making sure you're making very little mistakes, while also making sure you're getting good rotations, capitalizing and being very effective and efficient as far as the objective itself, right? But this is why we watch Comp DBD, man. We're here for it. Trial number 4. I can't freaking wait.
100%. Like, this is where it all comes down to. So for sure, I also can't wait. I'm wondering what we're gonna see. I think Solar Blazer probably comes out with Nurse. We saw a really strong Nurse, so I'm expecting to see a Nurse here.
I'm thinking Nurse with, I think it's like Nurse with Corrupt, Pop, Noed, No Way Out.
Okay.
Is what I'm calling. You earn yourself some regression, right? You don't get the instant regression from Ruin, but that also means you don't have the RNG regression from Ruin, right? At least you know you're going to consistently get some regression for at least each time you hook somebody. I was thinking Thana, but again, knowing that you're going to be probably going for some elimination early, I don't think this is going to be a situation where you can stack up a whole bunch of stacks of Thana. Mm-hmm. Or I don't think that's going to be the strategy, you know? So that's what I'm going with. Nurse, Corrupt, Pop, No Way Out, No End.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's probably pretty good. And I think on the Survivor side, I expect to see them play a really safe game, and for sure, like, everybody involved has played excellent to this point. I expect to see another great trial, and hey, definitely no real shade to Alfordomo. Out here just having fun with them. Domo's an amazing player, awesome dude. So definitely don't worry. Domo the homie.
I'm excited here. I think the biggest thing I'm excited for is for the pressure, the experience of the pressure for the first time for our killer here. We know that he's a new killer, like in the comp scene, right? So at least you're getting to experience this for the first time in the preseason versus the actual regular season. So definitely cool to see the homie getting some live reps.
For sure. And we are going into this last match now, so let's go ahead and review those penalty rules real quick. And of course, we did see a penalty earlier, unfortunately, for not bringing the coin. But definitely, guys, any match that has a penalty, it may be restarted, may be played out, or both. You will get penalized for having 2 of the same survivor, 2 of the same banned perk or item or add-on, and definitely that's a -5 point penalty there. If you have the wrong map, it's also -5 points. Definitely don't harass the ref, because that's double the points, -10 points there. So for sure, you want to try to avoid as many of those penalties as possible. Definitely use ! rules in the chat to go ahead and view more on that. And we do see a nurse here. We are starting up right now.
Yeah, I'm excited here. We do see the nurse. You're going to be coming out here. You're feeling the pressure. So the first 30 seconds here is really critical for Solar Blazer. You really want to start getting yourself a little pressure. You want to start the snowball of needing somebody going for a unhook, someone going for the or running away from the killer, right, while also having somebody on the actual hook itself. And we are noticing we had a totem cleanse, and we're going to have some auras there. That looks like some, I think that's retribution probably value coming in. So probably looking at a very aggressive, maybe even a very hex heavy build here.
For sure. Yeah, we do see a totem fall, and yes, that does appear to be retribution. And definitely our nurse trying to make the most of it here.
Yeah, we do see you were able to at least get the first hit on the Claudette, but the Claudette Keeperly doing a very good job taking more time, being able to draw Solar Blazer away from the middle of the map. You're still in the corrupt side of the map, so the bad news is you're probably going to be getting hooked over here in the corrupt side. But that does mean you've given your survivors more time to be able to put in some objective work here.
For sure. Definitely our survivors, I believe, will be all on that shack side, probably doing a lot of good gen work here. We do see Ruin is in play by the Sparks on that gen. So for sure, should see our nurse probably try to pressure the non-corrupt side. Uh-oh. I think we got fatigue bug.
Yeah, it's tough. But you know, where you're at right now, you've kind of got to get yourself a good position. You can kind of keep pressure on this middle gen here, which will kind of be able to string together with your 3 gens that just got uncovered by the corrupt there. So you now have 4 gens that are basically at 0 here, and that's a break of another totem there, and we're going to be seeing those auras. That's huge because we do see Solar Blazer making the way across here, coming for the unhook, and able to get some extra reach. Them arms are long, boy, and that's going to be a down on the Keeperly, and that is and he slaps him with the D, says drop it. Now we're going to be able to see the very easy decision by Solar Blazer to continue the tunnel out here.
For sure. And so definitely having Keeperly use that decisive strike there, you know that for sure the nurse is going to try to go ahead and confirm that, make this a 3v1. And these survivors really still are in good position to finish a lot of gens with the way that Keeperly's been holding chase here.
Yo, yeah, definitely Keeperly for MVP so far, doing a really good job on this chase here. Keep in mind, right, like the survivors, they need to have a very strong performance, and Keeperly has been allowed to, or has been able to keep the aggro so far for 3 gens, and we have not seen a second hook state come out yet. Whoa, and that's going to be another miss here. That's going to be some extra fatigue because that's 2 blinks here, and I do believe working around the tent. Are you going to be able to secure it? No, should be able to at least. That's going to be a down, but keep in mind we're in the back corner of the map, and that's a 4th gen getting done here.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the only gens left are the ones kind of in this. Oh no, they did complete a gen over here in the circus. So there's not even a 3 gen. There's a gen all the way on the opposite side down there that's probably being progressed quite a bit right now. This is crazy. These survivors are performing so well versus Solar Blazer and the Arctic Wolves.
Yeah, and you'll notice there that Solar Blazer came back over to this gen. There is progress on it. There are no sparks. So even though we do see that there is a totem there, we do notice that there is no more ruin value. So that means that Solar Blazer does not have help as far as regression on these gens. But you talked about it, right? We have a very, very good gen spread here, and you can't help but imagine that we have a survivor across the way that we have not seen that is working on that gen. The only question is, how far is it progressed? Because this is really going down, and it will now be a 3v1.
Yeah, but pay attention for sure. This is the 3rd hook, 1 gen left. These survivors have done such a great job at bringing the killer away from the gens that had progress on them, and nobody except Keeperly has been hooked in this game so far. So the advantage is definitely on the side of the survivors.
And I like this idea here, right? You put the 2 people on the gen on this side because that's going to let Solar Blazer think that that's the gen that you're working on. And I can't help but imagine that the survivor that we haven't seen, the Nia, is probably across the way and has that gen at least to 50% here, while we have this gen under 50, especially because we see Solar Blazer coming towards the back of the circus. And there's no gen there, and I was actually wrong. We were closer than that. Also keep in mind here, chat, we are in the end game. We don't have any hooks. We had corrupt intervention. We had a ruin undying, and we still have a totem up, meaning that there is no Noed. There's no way out. And Solar Blazer needs to secure some eliminations if he wants to bring this thing home.
And these survivors actually just need to go ahead and get out at this point, because 2 out does secure the win for Monarchy. So if they're smart, they're not going to even attempt to go and try to save this survivor.
Yeah, I don't think so. However, was Shiro the one who got the safe save?
No, I believe it was the ace, actually.
So, kind of interesting to see this little bit of a standoff here. Can't help but wonder if maybe somebody's in the background for Monarchy trying to do some quick calculations, seeing if they are okay to go ahead and leave, because now we do see the 2 survivors leaving, and you mentioned it. That will be enough here for our survivors from Monarchy to make sure that they secure the dub here in preseason week number 2.
Indeed. And so definitely congratulations to Monarchy getting convicted of murder.
What an insane game there. That's really, really strong. You gotta be feeling good if you're Monarchy, right? We saw, Arctic Wolves had a very strong performance. They walked away, I believe, with a couple of awards, I think, from week number 1, and you come in here and you're able to take away this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And that's definitely great. We've seen we actually saw 2 kind of upsets this week, kind of, right? Like, because we thought 6 was going to perform very well and ended up getting beaten this week, and we were like, wow, that was definitely a really good play by their opponent. And kind of the same thing today. Arctic Wolves kind of came in kind of the favorite here, but Monarchy going ahead and saying, hey, don't forget about us, because we have the potential to run this league.
Yeah, and even the same thing yesterday with Corrupt. Corrupt looked like they were going to lose, and they had to I think they pulled it back, in the 4th game, I think was what it took. So you gotta love seeing that, right? We're talking about a season here that's gonna last quite a bit of time, and we're heading into the season. Are there some favorites? Sure, but are they like strong favorites? I don't know so far. It looks like we're seeing a lot of parity in our league.
Indeed, and I think that's crazy to see, honestly. I think we are going to see an interview coming into our interrogation room, which will be definitely super exciting, because that is crazy. Like, that was just a crazy round. I'm still like trying to process everything that happened, And I see your mouth moving, but I don't hear you, Q. I think.
I don't know how. When did my mic get muted? I appreciate you letting me know. Yeah, that was that was fun, and you had talked about it, right? Like we really didn't. You called it coming into the matchup. We probably weren't going to know what our result was going to be until we were well into the 4th trial, and that's pretty well what we got. And you loved it. I mean, again, you just love to have these matchups. And I know it's preseason, and I don't want to overhype games because it is preseason. Sometimes things are different, but we've been seeing a lot of parity in the league so far, and I can't wait to actually dig into the league.
For sure. And both of these teams performed very well. So I definitely want to go ahead and say GG's to everyone involved. That was crazy. And man, like, I'm really wondering now, like you said, we have a lot of parity in the league. Like, who do you feel like we're gonna see in the end? Do you even have any guesses? Because I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I think I'm getting close to a loss here. Like, I'm not sure I'm gonna have many guesses.
I still feel pretty confident that Arctic Wolves will be a contender come towards the end of the year. I think they'll probably be one of those teams that's a semifinal, like a top 4, or not top 4, a last 4, right? Well, same thing, same picture.
Final
6
4.
in one, half dozen in the other. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, semifinal, probably like top 4 there. And I would probably say Corrupt's there, but I don't know if you can say either of them, if you can confidently put them at 1 and 2 and the rest of the pool somewhere else, or if I can just say, I think they're somewhere in the top 4 plus 2 more teams. I just don't know what those teams are yet,
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's been crazy to see so far. And you love to see it. Let me go ahead and say it does look like we have Shiro in here though for our interview in the interrogation room. Shiro, how are you today?
Hello. I'm fine, thank you.
Oh man, walk us through kind of how you guys went about attacking like the great killer play we've seen from Arctic Wolves and from Solar Blazer. You guys had two very good rounds as survivors against the killer.
Yeah. We were surprised with the twins pick. We didn't expect a twins on that map, honestly. So it got us by surprise. They picking twins in that, because you have the main, like, I don't know. We are used to twins in, like, I don't know, Suffocation Pit and
ARP
maybe,
and maps like that. Right.
yeah, yeah. We didn't expect them to pick on that map twins, but we expected an Earth or a Blight, yeah.
Yeah, and you guys played very well versus them for sure. You were able to get the 2 out in both matchups, right? So for sure, you guys performed very well and had really good coordination. How was communication on the team during those matches?
During the twins match, it was actually I think it's one of our best performances against twins, because I was getting tunnel and we really well called out how to protect the tunneling, especially with that locker block from Rocket.
Yeah, that was crazy to see.
And then against the nurse, it was like we are used to playing against nurses in Scream, so it was more natural. Like communication overall were pretty good, yeah.
So I have to ask, I noticed that they're in trial number 4. We saw the doors open, and then there was a little bit of time before we saw you guys decided to go ahead and take the 2 out. Were you doing some calculations in the back of your head and seeing if maybe it was worth doing the risky play and going for the 3 out there? Or what was there some communication about the possibility of that?
Yeah, like we had Rocket, who had Delhi up. So we were considering opening 3 or 4 gate, and then he going for the safe. But at the end we didn't choose it because the hook was way too far away from the both gates.
Right.
So, and yeah, basically, yeah, because on that. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask. So was that a situation where that time delay, was that you guys going to the other door and basically realizing even how far that one was from the hook? So you just went back to the door you had already opened?
Yeah, like in a normal season match, we would have taken the 2 out immediately.
Right.
But because it's pre-season, we wanted to experiment. But then we just said, no, there's no way you make it against the Nurse.
Yeah, definitely not against nurses. High mobility as she is, like, for sure, I was thinking you just take the out here. The only reason you stay is if the person already on hook possibly has Delhi, and we've already seen DS, so...
Yeah, like, you don't make it. Even if he had BT, the Delhi guy is going down. And then he's getting camped, so he's just giving free hooks.
Yep.
So with this being your guys' home map here, right? Do y'all have a feeling of maybe that was possibly one of the last nurses that you guys will see, at least until maybe postseason, knowing that there are probably going to be most teams saving those nurses for like a map that they can truly shine on?
Yeah. Like on that map, we expected a Blight more than a nurse. Because of his, like, if he gets good RNGs, GG basically. But
right,
like, we went for a Baba first game because we said
I liked it.
Yeah, he wanted to experiment, and we just let him.
Honestly, the Bubba play was great. Like, almost got a 4K.
Yeah, he got really lucky because he got the stealth down on 5 yens. Because we were like seeing it, that we're like, wait, he's not the sprint burst user, he's dead. And then he got the first down 5 gens, and that was against Ababa is basically 1 kill 3 gens or 2 gens.
Yeah.
Well, is there any? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, is there anything as far as for the the fans of Monarchy that are watching, or is there a statement that you want to let anybody else as far as that's watching from Vigo's court know before we let you get out of the interrogation room here?
Okay, stay with us and pray for our win. And, like I don't know, like just we don't want to let anyone down that supports basically.
I think that is very noble for sure, and you guys definitely did not disappoint today. You got the win, and definitely love to see it. Guys, that was the conclusion to our preseason here. Amazing matches all around to everybody involved, and it's time for the road to the final verdict, starting now. So, guys, get excited. This is where everything starts to count.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting because now this is where, this is where you don't see the meta killers every week, right? Because teams have to be selective with what maps you bring the meta killers out on, right? So this is going to be where we're going to start to kind of see, this is where I like seeing, like, you start to see the separation from teams of who really has a super diverse killer pool as well as who's like very strong against a super diverse killer pool versus who's just used to playing against the 3 people that you always scrim against in comp, right?
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, and I think that's going to be all for us. So we will go ahead and I'm going to nominate a high five, actually, for the end of the preseason. Is that all right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. 1, 2, and 3.
Good job.
Wow. Oh, that was perfect, dude. Oh, my God. I felt it right here. Right here. That was so good. That high five passed. All right. So.
Wash your hands.
What are you. Bro. It smells like hand sanitizer. It smells like hand sanitizer, bro. COVID safe. What do you mean?
Okay. So I guess it's me then. Maybe I should wash my hands.
Yeah. What you been doing, dude? What you been doing? Never mind. Don't answer that. I don't want to know. All right. So, guys, court is adjourned. We'll see you next time.